Tonight we're going to talk about human capital, and it's part of the worth of your family. Now, when a family normally starts, and we use the word wealth or capital, we think of just physical capital. But in my book, I refer to human capital, intellectual capital, and in physical capital. But there, if we want to expound on it, there's even spiritual capital and a whole lot of other capitals. Now, you must treat this as you would money, real money. So tonight we're going to talk about human capital. Now, when we say human capital, it doesn't matter if you're a single, then it's easy to control. But if you're then a married person with family, it refers to the making sure that all the members of the family are experiencing their maximum well-being. So it's about the maximum well-being of members. And you start off by making sure that all the members' basic, the needs for, or the basic requirements are met. Food, shelter, and things like that. Then in a lasting generational family, you want to make sure that members feel welcome in the family and ownership of the family. So you want maximum involvement of the members. And my own experience is we are totally different skills and backgrounds and passions in families. So make maximum use of the different skills and passions of the family. Then make sure everybody has a job. Even if you then as a family help to create a job for such a person, because there's dignity in work. And another thing is then the geographical footprint. So when it comes to looking at the longevity of a family, the further or bigger geographical footprint a family has, the more chance they have of surviving for a long, long time. Whereas if the family is concentrated in just a town or a village, then it's easy that disaster can strike and then they can disappear. Spiritual values, that's very much part of human capital. And that's something that the founder parents must talk through with their children and make sure that you're on the same page in terms of spiritual values. And I mean, just to say something about it, if there's one person in the family and he's going to be the heir of the family, but he believes that, this is the only life you have, and his value is to live it up and consume the maximum out of this life. Doesn't matter how hard you build it up, it's not going to survive past him and be available for the grandchildren. And then human capital is also about your community influence. It's to say, to what extent are you adding value to your community? And community can start with extended family, could be part of the church, or what we also be busy doing here at Eagle's Nest and some other satellites is to have the Community Chamber of Commerce, where people in a spirit of collaboration starts working together. Now, with this as by no means the exhausted components of human capital, but definitely some of the more important ones. If you now think in terms of capital, capital always have an income statement and a balance sheet. So if you look at income statement, income would then be to say, what is coming in for the expenditure? Now, what would be the expenditure to grow your human capital? It would be providing assistance to members in terms of health and basic needs. So when you have an elderly person in the family, obviously all the children have to work together to make sure that that person's needs are met in terms of health and pain-free and basic. But also true for your kids. So what are you doing to make sure that as soon as possible when they come of adult age, that they can leave the nest and start setting up their own place of stay and also earn money. Then investment in community projects. It's there was a saying when I studied that says enlightened self-interest. So by doing things for the community and not necessarily getting direct pay for what you're doing, but you do become the influencer in the community, you do become visible. Somehow life has a way to reward you and pay you back in other ways and means. And families that are very actively involved in the community have a longer chance or better chance of longevity than other families. Then I put in there, investment is also something like the cost of family rituals. So what are you doing to make sure that the immediate members of your family meet regularly? It could be a monthly, quarterly, or even an annual thing. Like I like to take my family out for a weekend once a year and just spend time as a family. But then slowly but surely, as the grandkids grow up, they start getting a feel for what are the values of this family, where are we taking this family, and so forth. If you do that and you invest that kind of effort and eventually money and time, what would then be the rewards? The rewards would then be the income statement, improvement in members' health and well-being. And what you also do here is on an annual basis, you revisit this whole thing to say, that family member that was in dire straits a year ago, how has that family member's financial situation or well-being improved? Additions to the family, maybe there's a grandchild that was added. Make sure that you document it and have pictures. And I know we do it anyway, but make sure that you capture it and always do things with a vision of it might be of interest to the third generation. You see how their grandfather, or what their grandfather looked like as a baby. Increase in geographical footprint. It doesn't necessarily mean your children now must pack up and leave and live in other towns, but it's also as an extension of your family. Your businesses is an extension of your family. So if you can do it, set up businesses in other parts of South Africa so that you're already national. And eventually, if you can also set up a business presence in another country, that would be good for your family. And then also, as you do that and become more and more involved in community projects, you will increase in community influence. Now, in terms of financial terms, where there's an income statement, and when you do your annual financials, you also then have to have a balance sheet which says these are the assets or the true wealth of the family, and how you then keep control of the balance sheet of the family is an updated CV of members. Now, what do I mean by that? As members grow and they become more equipped and skilled, make sure that you work it into their CVs, even if you just keep private CVs. But especially once children leave home and they start their own lives, you quickly lose track of what are they busy doing and what are they improving themselves on. And where I'm taking this is to say, if, let's say, one of my family members is now an electrician or a plumber, I would rather use the family members before I use people outside. And that was just a small example, but anywhere that you know what your family do, you can then use them. Share a verbal progress on your health and well-being. So that's what we normally do in our once a year annual event, just to sit down and count our blessings. And then an updated family story. So maybe a new child was born, someone got a degree, someone got married, and so forth. And keep on reminding each other what are the agreed values of the family.